Starting off with 35s here. Standing with the feet out more than hip width distance. I like to keep the elbows a little bit bent, but not go too big with the swings. Starting off small, hinging from the hip. Just using that hip hinge to help thrust the pelvis forward. Notice I'm not bringing my shoulders into this too much. Keeping the kettlebell fairly close to my body on the way down and as I come up. Trying to keep my tailbone lengthening, keeping the core active by pulling the belly button in. Not bringing this into the spine, not bringing it into the shoulders, keeping it as limited as I can to that hinge, around your glutes, your core, your lower back. Lots of big muscles in that part of the body. I'm keeping my chest open as well as I'm doing that. Shoulders set back. So there's lots of little activations, adjustments you can continue making. Using momentum on the thrust. Feeling your glute muscles really activating as you push the hips forward. It's a great way to get your heart rate up, to get a nice workout in very quickly. It's a very efficient. It's a very efficient and very effective way of working out as well. Starting to feel this in the arms. I'm gonna put that down, just take a bit of a rest, rotate. Hip rotations, nice big rotations. Feeling your hips pushing out to the sides. And just making sure that you're stretching, especially the lateral part of the body. I find that a lot of stretches focus on the front and the back, but it's these muscles along the side of our body, the IT bands, the lower back, the obliques. They're the ones that a lot of times hold tension, at least they do for me. So just a few rotations. You're also just taking this time to catch your breath. I am going to go a little bit heavier for this set here. Just making sure that I'm warmed up. My hips are feeling loose. Heart rate's up a little bit. I'm warmed up. So I started with a 35. I'm going to go to a 50. Again, you want to have your feet planted. I like to have them, if you're on your mat, like about mat width, slightly wider than that. So you have a nice strong and stable base underneath you. Knees are slightly bent, so I'm never locking my knees out. I'm keeping the knees slightly bent so the muscles around the joint stay active. My glutes are going to do a lot of the work here. And then focus on keeping that chest lifted, my spine nice and long, core is active. And then as I fold, hinge from the hip, pick up the grip or pick up the kettlebell with a nice solid grip and keep the chest open. So I actively roll my shoulders back. I engage my rhomboids, which are the muscles that pull your scapula together. So I'm keeping those muscles active. I'm keeping the core braced as if you're about to get punched. That's kind of the thing you want to think about. You're not flexing. Just imagine that if you're about to get punched, what would you do? Just that little bit of activation. Maybe even pull back from that slightly. All right, and just start to now hinge. So just starting off small. And the reason we want to start off small is, I can already feel that from the last set, is that you don't want to go too big and just let momentum carry you through. Even though there is momentum that builds with the kettlebell, you still want to keep your muscles active. You don't want to let momentum and gravity do most of the work, because then we miss out on the strength building, the glute activation, all the benefits really of the pose get lost if you let gravity and momentum take over. So keep using the strength in your muscles, using your body to push the weight. And as you pick up speed, naturally a bit of momentum does grow as you take the kettlebell back, but you still want to keep your muscles active throughout that. So your shoulders, your traps, they're maintaining control of the arms. Your grip is still strong. So there's not too much swaying and swinging happening without control. Notice I'm not bending my knees any further. They're pretty much staying where they are at that micro bend. So this doesn't become a squat. It remains a hinge movement, remains in the glutes and the hips and the low back. I'm doing this with the breath as well. I'm inhaling as I go back, exhaling, lifting up. And you're welcome to go lighter with the kettlebell at any point. This is just where I feel comfortable in this moment. So I'm continuing with this weight, but feel free to drop down at any point. Always making sure your form is as close to being perfect really as possible as I start to lose a bit of my form there. And the reason for that is that sometimes, I know I've done this in the past and still sometimes do it where I let my ego get in the way of my own self and end up getting injured. So as soon as you start to see a form, getting a little sloppy, you want to pull yourself out. There's always next set. So keep that in mind as I catch my breath. I do have a skipping rope here. Mind you, I haven't done this in a while, so I am a little bit rusty, but I'll give it a shot nonetheless. And again, I like to do my rope jumping on a mat as well, just to make sure that my ankles and my knees stay cushioned. As I get older, definitely something that I'm mindful of. Always good to be mindful of your knees, your ankles, and your joints in general. All right, when you're ready. Again, the skipping rope is totally optional. I just kind of felt like doing this. It's always good to have little things lying around that you can use to make your workouts more fun. I also have TRX cables, and in one of the videos, I'll do some kettlebell workout along with TRX cables. As you come back, just relaxing a little. I always like to keep twisting. Helps to keep the muscles in this part of your body, your transverse abdominis, your lower back muscles, your kind of lumbar support. There's a lot of juice happening in this part of the body. So when you're using strength and exerting those muscles, you also want to make sure that you're kind of relaxing into those muscles and letting them stretch as well. Breathing into that twist. Again, I always like to think of breath and how I can incorporate it with the movement. So I like to inhale as I pull back to one side and exhale as I go to the other. So you can pick which side you like. Inhaling into one side, exhaling out the other. And you want to make sure that your feet stay pretty planted. Your hips are still facing forward. A lot of times what happens is we start to bring this into the hips and the hips are doing this, but you want to keep your hips, your pelvis pretty much in that stable position here and not moving too much. So the twist stays in your waist, in your upper body, torso. This also helps to protect you from going too deep into a twist, especially as we pick up a bit of pace. Sometimes momentum can carry you deeper than you're comfortable going. But if your feet are planted, your pelvis is not locked, but it's kind of set in that position facing forward, then it just offers you a more stable base. That's really what it's about. There's no real set number here. You can do more, you can do less. I kind of just like to keep my workouts pretty fluid. I'm not really about, counting everything or waiting a certain amount of time. I let my body kind of inform me when it's ready to move or when it's ready to rest or, now I'm feeling ready to lift. So I'm going to drop down to the 35 and I'm going to build from here back to that 50. Actually, you know what? Screw it. I've already done the 50. I'll start with this and I'll bring it down to a 35. Like I said, I keep my workouts pretty fluid. I always try to listen to my body, so I'm not kind of, letting my brain or my ego carry it. I'm letting my body make the workout happen. All right, enough jibber jabber. Get that nice grip, making those adjustments, engage the muscles that you want to engage, your glutes, your low back, shoulders step back, chest lifted. Start the hinge. And again, slow is fast, fast is slow. So if you start really fast, often you're not able to get as many, or you might injure yourself, so you're not able to do, these exercises for a while. But if you start slow, then you can go fast from there because you're slowly getting your body into that momentum. So even though I've already done this a few times, I'm still kind of slowly building up that movement, letting my body adjust with incremental increases. Again, you'll notice that my elbows are just slightly bent. I'm not bending them too much more from there, but whatever bend is happening in the elbows, and my arms are staying pretty close to my body. And what that allows me to do is keep my shoulders set back, my chest lifted. If I start to do this kind of stuff happen, then it's a little bit harder to do that. Okay, back to doing it the right way, or at least the way that I have found more helpful for me. One thing I always try to remember is workouts are never about intensity, they're about consistency. So even if I go a little bit lighter one day, I know that if I do it consistently enough, I'm going to come back and lift more and do that over a long period of time, which is really what's important when it comes to anything, is doing something consistently over a period of time. Because that's when you really start to see the growth, the benefits happen. Often these short bursts run out of gas, and it's happened to me before where I've done something, ran it like a sprint and then realized halfway through that it's a marathon. So it's always important to keep a pace that feels, like it's still challenging you. You still want to obviously, get your heart rate up. You still want to feel your muscles starting to get fatigued, but it's not about kind of going balls to the walls every single time. At least that's how I like to work out. Again, everyone's got a different style. Everyone's body is different. I'm close to 35, so I have to consider some things that I didn't consider when I was in my teens and 20s, but here we go. Notice the breath is synced up with the movement. So I'm just kind of pacing myself with my breath. And as you do this over a period of time, your grip starts to get stronger as well, especially if you're using some of the thicker barbells or heavier barbells that tend to have thicker handles. So you're starting to grip kind of bigger and bigger objects, which builds that strength in the forearm as well. So it is, even though you're focusing on this part of the body, because it's such a compound exercise, it does tend to involve a lot of other muscles, including your hands, your forearms, chest. So really, I feel like it's a full body workout, but I still like to focus here. All right, like I said, moving the hips. I also like to make sure that I'm practicing malasana, which is my feet are about hip width distance, slightly wider than that. Toes are turned out 45 degrees. And just bring the palms together. You can also have your fingertips down in front of your toes. And again, you can adjust your feet to where you feel comfortable. You don't want to let your knees go way too past the toes. That's just something to be comfortable around. You can sink lower if you like. And press the arms against the inner thighs. Draw your chest forward as you feel that lift Lengthen through your spine, keeping the chin tucked in. Nice and heavy into the seat. Again, I like to throw in yoga into everything. As you know, this is a great stretch, and I like to do this stretch at least once a day. Try and start my mornings off. We're doing some morning exercises, so you can check out that video here if you like. Yeah, really pressing the arms against your thighs and using that connection to draw your chest forward, lengthen your tailbone down, feel nice and tall in your body. You don't want to feel slumped or kind of uncomfortable. Feel that lift, that proud chest. We're going to begin to come out of this malasana. I like to kind of test my strength, especially in that lower part of the squat. So I really work on pushing through both feet and lifting into the lower parts. I have a video on this as well if you want to build that posterior muscle chain. And then slowly lifting my way out all the way up to standing. Woo! Really feeling that burn. That's what we're going for. You're bringing the kettlebells, you're bringing yoga, you're bringing movement, stretching. It's all happening at the same time, so you're keeping your body challenged. And let's go ahead and bring the kettlebell back for, I want to keep this pretty short, so I'm already feeling this. Breath is worked up, heart rate's up as well. My body's starting to feel fatigued. So I'm going to do one more set, kind of see how we feel after that. But I do want to keep this pretty short so that, you know, you're not trying to do this for 30, 40 minutes, but, you know, 15, 20 minutes, you get in, you do your thing, and then you're on with your day. And you can always come back and do something else. Like, for example, today, after I do this, I'm going to go and swim, right? So you always have options. You don't have to keep everything kind of locked into one way. Again, fluidity. That's what I like in movement and exercise in general. Okay. And I didn't mention this, but you know, you're welcome to drink water at any point. Keep yourself hydrated. And if you like to, you know, follow me or want to kind of know more about what's going on, you can always find me on Instagram at the Kaizen Projekt. I'm not a very kind of frequent poster, but every once in a while I will put stuff on there. I also do other things like act and make movies, so on occasion I will also update about those kinds of projects. But for now, we're swinging the kettlebell with strength, with control, with intention, with the breath. Feeling the burn, pushing through it. All right, slowing down. Whew. And for some reason today, I seem to be feeling this in my left forearm the most. So it just kind of goes to show that maybe that's where I need to work today. Coming back to the twists, coming back to gentle, relaxed breath. When you're working out, you feel your chest rising up, coming into your collarbones and that upper kind of chest area. Try and consciously send that breath back down. Because when you're breathing shallow, you're breathing up into your chest like that, it's generally signals to your body that you're feeling unsafe. The water's too cold, get out. Or, you're kind of hiding from something, protecting yourself. So any of those kind of movements, when your shoulders come up into your chest, your breath gets shallow, it triggers your sympathetic nervous system, which then tells your body that, hey, there's stress, there's something to be aware of, there's danger, and it releases stress hormones into your blood. But if you relax, bring your shoulders down, lift your chest, and let the arms just drop beside the body, you'll notice that as soon as I stand like this, I look different, appear different. And not only do I appear different in my own body, I feel different. I feel more confident, I feel more grounded. I can feel my breath down into my belly here. Now when I'm standing like this or I'm sitting like this, my body is convinced that, hey, everything is safe. There's nothing to be afraid of. I'm in complete control. And when your body feels like that through your posture, it then signals again to your brain, hey, release some good feeling chemicals or, into your brain, and then you feel better as a result. So it is, your physiology influences your body influences your physiology. It's kind of a loop connection. Okay, so I've talked a little bit. I know I have. Let's just bang out one heavier kettlebell, whichever one you have. I feel like I can get a few more out of this. I turn it this way, even though it's not good form. So you see it's a 50. Okay. Getting settled, find that grounding underneath your feet, evenly through your both legs. You're active, you're engaged. Length through your torso, hinge at the hip, keep the core active, grabbing the kettlebell. Nice. Okay. Whew. All right, let's go. And if you feel like, you know what, I think I've done enough for today and I want to start winding down, you can totally just wind down. You can do some twists, you can go into malasana. If you're still feeling like, you know what, I got a bit more juice, I want to push it, then let's push. Kick, push, and kick, push, and kick. I don't know if I can sing any more of that. I might get a copyright strike, but you guys know what I'm talking about. That's right. And we push, and we breathe, and we move, and we get stronger as we lift. That's it. If you guys are still sticking with me here, thank you so much. As we come towards the end of the video, really appreciate your support. Really appreciate your time. And most of all, I really appreciate your attention, because that's the most valuable thing that we have, even more valuable than time. See you next time. It's the Kaizen Man signing out.